Making the headlines tonight, government assures media free to operate without interference. And police bus drug lab seized 26.5 million ringgit in ecstasy pills. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah today wished a happy National Journalist Day, Hawana, to all journalists and media practitioners, including those who have retired from the field. In a post on the official Istana Negara Facebook page, Al-Sultan Abdullah expressed his appreciation for the commitment and dedication shown by journalists and media practitioners in carrying out their duties to the country. His Majesty also expressed his appreciation to journalists and media practitioners for sacrificing their time, energy, thoughts and personal safety regardless of the weather condition and situation in carrying out the task of obtaining information. With the explosion of information on the internet and social media, His Majesty advised journalists and media practitioners to always abide by the law and maintain journalism ethics, as well as ensure integrity and accountability in every news report published. Describing journalists and media practitioners as unsung heroes, His Majesty said their role was crucial in the development of the country and in fostering unity among the people of various races and religions. To ensure freedom of expression in the country, the media should remain free to operate without any interference from other parties. In this regard, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob gave his assurance that the government will not interfere with media organisations from executing their duties and publishing news reports.
Saya akui bahawa profesion kewartawanan harus kekal, bebas dan berfungsi tanpa gangguan dan campur tangan pihak lain bagi menjamin kebebasan bersuara di negara ini. Kerajaan tidak pernah menghalang media daripada menyiarkan sebarang laporan berita yang ada kala dijadikan panduan pihak berwajib untuk mengambil tindakan susulan seperti bertindak menyalurkan bantuan untuk kesejahteraan keluarga Malaysia.
The Premier said the government would always listen to issues raised by the media, adding all ministries and government agencies have provided cooperation and assisted the media in distributing balanced, accurate and right information to the people. He said this when launching the Hawana 2022 celebration in Bandar Hilir, Melaka. The Prime Minister acknowledged the role of journalists as the fourth estate, who together with the executive, legal and judiciary branches work with the government to make a success of the country's development agenda. He hoped that journalists would continue to be proactive and write fair reports when suggesting solutions to any issues raised. 29th May was gazetted as National Journalist Day in conjunction with the publication of the first newspaper edition in Malaysia, which is Utusan Melayu on 29th May 1939, which became the first media platform in Malaysia. With the theme of People's Voice and National Aspiration, the celebration aims to commemorate and appreciate the journalism profession in Malaysia. Representatives of journalists from Indonesia and Vietnam also attended Hawana 2022. Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri also said a Malaysian Centre for Study of Journalism need to be established to support the standards and raise the professionalism level of national journalism. The proposed centre, he said, could collect reference data from various studies to conducted strengthen journalism in Malaysia. Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri added the centre could also involve interaction with various social fields spanning different cultural contexts.
Bagi tujuan ini, sesuai jika Pusat Kajian Kewartawanan Malaysia ini diwujudkan di Melaka dengan mengambil kira dengan mengambil kira sejarah tempat bermulanya perkembangan dunia kewartawanan.
He also said in order to raise journalism as a noble and respected profession, future journalists need to receive sufficient formal training in developing expertise, responsibility and integrity. Meanwhile, Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said Hawana celebration must be made a national agenda in recognition of the role played by journalists and media practitioners in the country. The minister gave his assurance that Hawana will be given the highest priority and attention.
Jadi Hawana Melaka inilah titik tolaknya, kerana saya harap daripada forum yang kita anjurkan pada pagi ini dan juga perbincangan sebelumnya dan juga deklarasi Melaka yang akan diumumkan akan mengandungi roadmap seterusnya, kerana ini baru just the beginning. Things should be even better, should be more dynamic, more vibrant, more impactful as part of nation building. Yang saya yakin wartawan atau jurnalis plays a very important role as far as nation building is concerned. Jadi saya ucapkan tahniah, dan saya seperti yang saya sebutkan tadi, kementerian atau KCOM memberikan full commitment kepada Hawana.
Why do we tell you stories?
Relevant,
New,
efficient,
accurate.
reliable. We bring you extraordinary stories from around the world, from politicians, bankers, and even your favorite celebrities. This and many more on RTM's English News.
The police busted a drug processing laboratory and confiscated ecstasy pills and powder estimated to be worth 26.5 million ringgit in raids on 2 luxury condominium units in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. During the raid, 4 individuals, a local man who is the mastermind of the syndicate, and 3 women from China, aged 48 to 56, were arrested. Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department JSJN Director Dato' Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said each of the luxury condominium unit was rented for 2,500 ringgit a month and were converted into drug processing laboratory.
Semua bahan-bahan kimia itu dibeli daripada pasaran tempatan dan diproses. So yang menjadi kepala dalangnya adalah lelaki Cina tempatan tersebutlah. Dan dia inilah yang mengajar atau menurunkan ilmu-ilmu kepada 3 lagi. Salah seorang yang ditangkap itu adalah teman wanita kepada lelaki tempatan tersebutlah.
He added the syndicate have been active since late last year, targeting nightclubs patrons as their potential customers. Checks revealed that the 3 foreign women entered the country between 4 and 5 years ago using social visit passes. All those arrested who tested negative for drugs and had no previous criminal records were remanded for 7 days to assist in the investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, KPDN-HEP, has issued compounds totaling 256,800 ringgit to retailers, wholesalers and breeders nationwide for failing to comply with the maximum price control scheme for chicken and eggs, which came into effect on 5th February. Its Deputy Minister, Dr. Rosul Wahid, said it involved 1,034 cases covering various offences, including selling items beyond the ceiling price and failing to display special price tags as instructed. According to Dato' Rosul, a total of 1,033 business items worth 133,000 ringgit were also seized during the same period.
jika peniaga ni akan langgar apa yang kita buat. Jadi kita pantau dan kita tunggu juga laporan report daripada pengguna. Jika ada, kita akan ambil tindakan. Artinya bukan sahaja kita tunggu report, mana pegawai kita juga berjalan turun ke grassroots untuk meninjau harga tersebut. Jadi kalau ada kedapatan, maka kita akan ambil tindakan.
He also said the ministry's enforcement team has been instructed to increase monitoring at certain premises to detect errant traders, since the price of chicken or food is suspected to increase within a week or two before the price control scheme ends. Meanwhile, the shortage of chicken supply in the Kuala Lumpur markets last week was due to the high demand by the residents, especially those that conducted Aidilfitri open houses. However, Kuala Lumpur KPD and HDP Director Arifin Samsudin said the problem was solved by providing additional supply to the markets. Elaborating further, Arifin said the amount of chicken being distributed to the markets in the capital last week was supposed to be enough, but the supply was affected following the unexpected high demand by consumers.
Di Kuala Lumpur, bekalan dengan kadar 38,000 ini adalah bekalan yang stabil dan tidak terputus. Maksudnya tak boleh terputus lah kalau dengan bekalan 38,000 kilo ayam yang kita dah bekalkan ke seluruh wilayah persekutuan ni. Jadi jumlah bekalan juga kita faham, minggu lepas ada cerita isu pengurangan bekalan ayam, tak ada stok ayam. Tapi bekalan ayam melalui pelbagai usaha yang telah dilakukan di peringkat kementerian, kita dapati bekalan di Kuala Lumpur semakin pulih berbanding sebelum ini.
He was met after conducting a special inspection on the supply of chicken at a supermarket in Kuala Lumpur. Coming up next, MOE develops apps for smoother school administration. The Road Transport Department JPJ will allow private vehicles from Thailand to enter Malaysia starting 1st June following the reopening of the Malaysia-Thailand border. Kelantan State JPJ Director Muhammad Miswari Abdullah said these vehicles will come in through 3 state entry points, namely the department's border control stations in Rantau Panjang, Pengkalan Kubor and Bukit Bunga.
Jadi antara punca kita buka ini untuk merancangkan kembali ekonomi kedua-dua belah negara dan supaya hubungan saudara mara ni dapat bertaut kembalilah setelah sekian lama berpisah disebabkan penutupan sempadan.
He expects some 1,000 private vehicles from Thailand to enter the state on weekends, adding the department will issue international circulation permits (ICP) at border control stations for foreign vehicles provided they submit the required documents and pass their vehicle inspection. The Ministry of Education is developing an application to enable smoother operations of school administration affairs. Senior Education Minister Dr. Razi Jidin said the application would begin operating by focusing on schedules construction that will be used by all schools nationwide. Dr. Razi said at the same time the ministry would also examine the teaching and learning process in order to improve the level of productivity and efficiency apart from reducing the burden experienced by the teachers.
Yang penting adalah meningkatkan kecekapan. Kita tengok kat mana kita boleh tingkatkan kecekapan ini. Jadi cikgu tak rasa kadang-kadang buat kerja 2-3 kali, kadang-kadang buat kerja perlahan, dan perkara-perkara berkaitan dengan akses, berkaitan dengan server, ini perkara-perkara teknikal yang melibatkan kecekapan yang kita beri tumpuan.
He said the ministry would also upgrade and improve the existing critical modules so that the issue can be resolved immediately. Higher education institutions, IPTs, are urged to expand cooperation and establish strategic collaborations with foreign technical universities to strengthen the country's technical and vocational education and training TVET programs. Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad said to expand the international strategic network, University of Malaysia Perlis UNIMAP had signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with Georgie Asachi Technical University of IRC to IRC. In a statement today, Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini said the MOU will focus on efforts to address environmental sustainability issues such as waste generation, environmental pollution and climate change through the use of recycled materials. She further said the global economic downturn, industrial restructuring and workforce transformation have forced higher education institutions to seek opportunities for continuous professional development to remain competitive and relevant. She added that her ministry would give full support to UNIMAP and to IASI to spur great exchange of expertise, knowledge and technology, as well as promotional, training and development programs for students and staff. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation is building a mobile chemistry laboratory to ensure that on-site studies and investigations can be immediately carried out, especially pertaining to pollution incidences. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba, said 2 mobile units of the chemistry department are also being established for the same purpose. Explaining further, Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said the mobile laboratory that is currently located in Kuala Lumpur is expected to be operational beginning the end of 2023, involving an allocation of 10 million ringgit. He also noted that the 2 mobile units of the chemistry department in Johor Bahru and Bintulu would begin their operations early next year with an allocation of 200,000 ringgit each.
Kita yakin dengan adanya asas dan kejayaan kedua tempat ini, mobile unit ini boleh diletakkan di kebanyakan negeri lah, insyaAllah. Kita cuba mohon peruntukan daripada kerajaan untuk diadakan di setiap negeri.
The Silat program should continue as it is symbolic of the unification of the community in facing any possible internal as well as external challenges. Therefore, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa Yaakob said Silat practitioners should be in a state of readiness to manage its journeys in the country. According to the Premier, Silat not only taught the practitioners about martial arts, but more importantly to build a society with inner resilience, identity, discipline, good character and create a society with loyalty and love for the country. He said these elements are important in the government's efforts to achieve the aspirations of the Keluarga Malaysia. He added Silat also needed to be safeguarded so that the culture that had been established for so long could be maintained and accepted by all levels of society. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also announced that the government will continue the construction of the National Silat Complex in efforts to introduce Silat globally.
Demi masa depan silat negara, saya mengumumkan akan meneruskan carangan yang dibuat oleh Datuk Seri Najib bersama dengan Datuk Megat dulu. Iaitu untuk meneruskan pembinaan kompleks silat negara ataupun kompleks persilatan negara. Saya percaya silat akan terus maju dan dapat kita perkenalkan ke seluruh dunia.
The Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, is not setting a high target at the 2022 Under-23 Asian Cup in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, but wants the national football squad to gain as much experience as possible in the tournament. Its Secretary General, Muhammad Saifuddin Abu Bakar, said FAM hoped that the team would be able to get past the group stage.
Kita berharap
harap ini adalah satu landasan yang paling baik untuk pasukan kita mendapatkan ilmu daripada pasukan-pasukan yang terbaik di dalam Asia. Kita kena ukur baju di badan sendiri lah. Ya, betul tak? Bukannya kata kita tak confident dengan pasukan tu, tapi kita confident dengan pasukan. Tetapi kita kena realistik lah.
Met at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport today, Muhammad Saifuddin hoped the under-23 squad would do their best for the tournament. Malaysia will play against the 2020 champions South Korea on 2nd June, followed by Thailand on 5th of June and Vietnam on 8th June in Group C matches at the Lokomotiv Stadium and Butyorko Stadium in Tashkent. Meanwhile, national under-23 squad coach Brad Maloney said he is delighted to have both midfielders Nick Akif Shakiran, Nick Mat and Muhammad Mukhairi Ajmal Mahadi as key player options for Malaysia's challenge in the 2022 under-23 Asian Cup. Maloney said both players would most likely be named in his first 11, but chances for other players to be listed too are there, as the decision on that will only be made after every game based on their performances.
Every player is available, and those two players are key players, and you know, it's fantastic that they'll be available for selection. Yeah, we'll take each match on its own merits, and you know, we'll slowly form what you might call the best 11, I'd say, but it's a bit early to say that yet.
Maloney said it is tough to make a decision regarding the first 11 as all the players have their own capabilities to bring a tough challenge to the opponents.